So I know that the story of Mike Zimmer didn't like Kirk Cousins, they didn't get along, is old news, right? And some people will say, "Oh, why do you keep bringing this up? Why do you keep talking about it? Zimmer's gone. Who really cares?" But it's important to do an autopsy, a post-mortem on what went wrong last season, because the Vikings, on paper, had one of the best rosters in the league, but they went 8-9, and trying to find out what the hell happened, and trying to find out why Kendricks, why Brian O'Neill, why team leaders are talking about the fear-driven culture and just like toxic atmosphere that was swirling around the Vikings last season. And with the Vikings and Kirk Cousins, I mean, 4 years in, we're watching film together, blah 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 blah. Like that really matters. I mean, what took you so damn long, right? And it's frustrating, and it should give you hope that the fact that Kirk Cousins was dealing with a head coach who clearly didn't like him. We're dealing with his fourth different offensive coordinator last year, Clint Kubiak, who was not ready to be an OC in the NFL. And the fact that now he's working with Kevin O'Connell, an offensive-minded coach, a guy he's worked with before, it should give you hope. Should give you hope for Cousins. Should give you hope for the offense. Should give you damn good hope for the defense, because how bad can it get? All right, all that stuff. Because the fact that the Vikings still went 8-9. They were still flirting with the playoffs when Zimmer wasn't getting along with Cousins. Zimmer wasn't getting along with Spielman. No one was getting along with each other, and no one was having fun. It's just amazing when you think about it, man. And of course, looking back, the whole Zimmer Cousins post win shove. No. At the time, it was just like, oh, two dudes excited about a last second win, where everyone and their mom could tell there was some vitriol there. There was some pent up aggression there, and Zimmer sort of took that personally. But peeking behind the curtain even more, so Ben Leber, sideline reporter for the Vikings, as well as former Vikings linebacker, plus the second best looking South Korean that does reporting on the Vikings. That's right, man. So he dug in even more. So he dug in. Of course, Mike Zimmer didn't like Kirk Cousins, and it showed. And he really got into the nitty gritty. He was talking with Zach Gelb on ZBS Sports, and this is what he said. Quote, "I think he's finally going to thrive," Kirk Cousins, that is, really thrive in a system and a coach that actually respects him. So that's insinuating that that Mike Zimmer did not respect Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's not like I'm breaking news here that Mike Zimmer did not like Kirk Cousins, and I think that it showed in a way that Kirk behaved and that way that he carried himself. The team was never given to him, or he was never allowed to earn the trust of the team, because the head coach, I think, just didn't like him. And it did seem like Cousins when he got here in 2018, sort of new kid in town. It wasn't really his offense, right? But eventually it worked into where he was that captain, he was a team leader. Even though he wore the C early on with the Vikings 2018, 2019, really wasn't that. And Zimmer, I don't know why him and Kirk Cousins didn't see eye to eye. Maybe it's just business. Maybe he thought that Kirk Cousins took up too much of the cap, took money away from the defense, took resources away from the defense, because you have to use draft picks and free agency money to surround Kirk Cousins, as opposed to just spending on your precious defense, even though you said you could find cover two corners down at the 7-Eleven. Maybe it's that. Because, I mean, how can someone actually not like Kirk Cousins? He seems like the most prime meridian milquetoast, skim milk, white bread, saltine person ever. The most complete inert. Actually, inert is a great way to describe Kirk Cousins. I don't know how you can have strong feelings about him one way or the other. I just simply don't understand that. Or Zimmer obviously loved Teddy Bridgewater, and maybe he's upset that the Vikings didn't roll with Teddy in 2018, even though Teddy's knee, it was too much of a gamble at the time. I don't get it, man. I simply do not understand it. And then Leber continued talk about the defense, man. Quote, "That was a top 10 offense last year, with a very green first-time offensive coordinator. Where was that defense ranked last year? 31st. The year before that, I think they were ranked 27th. So people can rail on Kirk and rail on this offense, say that we can't win with him or we can't win with this offense. I say that's total BS. Absolutely. Again, we say where people are just hating on Kirk Cousins, especially Vikings fans, for no reason. It's like, you're never going to win anything with Kirk Cousins. Kirk has not been the problem since the bye week of 2020. No, and frankly, he's played some of the best football of his career under very trying circumstances, right? So, again, we call a spade a spade. We're not a Kirk Cousins sycophant here. When 2018, 2019, when he was effing up, when he was a problem, we said that at the time. But I feel like people just have so much inertia. It's like, we're just used to blaming the quarterback. We're used to blaming the highest paid player on the team, blah, blah, blah. But again, the defense was garbaggio. over the last couple years. He continues, we couldn't win with that crap defense, and we've had the last 2 years. We couldn't stop the run at all, ever. And then in key moments of the games, we couldn't stop any 2-minute offense. So to me, the biggest liability on this team has been defense. All this team has to do is play good team defense, finish in the mid-teens at the end of the season, and they're playoff bound, and they can make some noise. And he's absolutely right. And plus, you give a lot more credit because Ben Leber has been part of these defenses. He's in the locker room. Like he understands the pulse of the team. And it takes a lot where you have basically a team employee and a guy who is tight with the current players on the roster, especially the defense, just calling him out, calling him on the carpet. So that's when you know that he is speaking the true truth. He's putting that out there. Plus, Leber, like he talks and he knows all of the players on this team. Like, and you can tell when you're in a room with someone that two people who clearly do not like each other, it gives a weird tension, a weird environment, especially especially the three most important people of your football team, the GM, the head coach, and the quarterback. They ain't getting along in some sort of it's a reverse love triangle. It's a hate triangle. They ain't getting it. It's a bad spot to be in, and it showed the way that the team, the Fly loves it, the way that the team has performed in the last couple seasons. And that's why it should give you hope. It should give you hope that somehow, some way, this team miraculously still went 8-9 last year, even though everything was against it. All of a sudden, if you have a positive working environment, and guess what? People are actually supporting each other and actually want to work together, the sky's the limit with this team. Absolutely. Absolutely. Plus, our guys, Vikings Insider, pointed this out. The Vikings finished 8-9 last season. If Minnesota didn't give up any points within the final 2 minutes of either half in their losses last season, they would have finished 15-2. Now, I understand that's a little bit of cherry picking, but that's how bad the 2-minute defense was. Whether it was giving away a record-setting amount of points with 2 minutes to go in the first half, that's bad game management, or at the end of games where players just quit. And we're not afraid to say that. They just quit. But you can sort of understand it because are you really going to give full effort for a team or organization that you don't believe in, that doesn't believe in you, all that stuff? No, it's tough. Like, think of your job. Like, do you give more of an effort in a place that makes you feel valued or not? I'm sure you've worked in both. That's right. It's just... again, it feels like we're beating a dead horse with this stuff, but not really, because this all factors into 2021. And Leber said it. I mean, the fact that Kevin O'Connell believes in Kirk Cousins, the fact that Kevin O'Connell's going to be the head coach of this entire team, the fact that Ed Donatel and this defense changing up schemes, hopefully going to turn things around, stopping the run, situational football, 2-minute defense, all of that stuff. I mean, it just adds up that the Vikings have a chance to have double-digit wins, maybe even more. Well, triple-digit wins. Nailed it. Winning 13, 14 games, win the division, making some noise in the playoffs. Leber's right. Leber is 100% right here. And like we said, as a former player, as some guy who's still in that locker room, as a guy who's very dialed in with that organization, it means a lot coming from him. So... I love it. I absolutely love it. And again, not breaking any news that Zimmer and Cousins didn't see eye to eye, but it's important to do the autopsy of what went wrong last year so you can get things right this year. And that's why I'm so hyped about this team. That's why this year, even though regime change, it's so much hope. That's why Kwesi and O'Connell kept the band together. That's why they're going to do fantastic things this year. I truly, truly believe that, man. But that's it. Ben Leber. Zimmer didn't like Cousins. Shocker. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.